I had 3 postcards removed from eBay. How dare they? Per policy, they said. Have you ever had this happen, and what did you do? I got a video on that too. I put it out there a long time ago. It doesn't cover everything. Welcome back to SM Postcards. Today, got the normal, what sold, special topic, Chicago postcards. I'm only 55 miles straight south of downtown Chicago, and I worked in Chicago for a long time. But we're not a suburb of Chicago, we're a town south, we're a farm town. It's a pretty big town. We probably got 50,000 people around here in the different villages. This is where I grew up, but did work in the city for many years. So we'll go through those cards and talk about what they sell for and what sells. Then for the poll, I ask this question 2 or 3 times a week. How many hours a week do you work on selling postcards? I think the last poll I asked, how many listings do you have? But this is how many hours a week do you work on them? Kind of different in the summer and the winter is what some people say. And then I got some viewer comments to go over. First, I won some stuff from an auction. It's the local auction I usually bid on. It's only 20 minutes up the road, and I usually get different things. I wanted to show you a few of the things that I got, and I'll tell you what I paid. I bought these. These are matted, like concept artist drawing airplanes. This is one of them there. This is another one I got. That's another one. So I got 3, 4 airplanes. I think these are the Thunderbirds. If you look underneath, one of my friends said it looks like a Thunderbird is drawn underneath. These, it's like an artist drawing of the Thunderbirds on mat. So that's 5. And then these are artist conceptions, or these look like they've been printed and then they were put on this hard frame type thing. But this is, let me see how I can look at this. So this is like a space station, some guys walking around and stuff like that. And that's one of those. And then I got a United States spaceship going across the moon. There's the Earth and there's the moon. And it's on that hard, real thick board. And then got this one. These guys actually are walking in space. They came out of the, you can see their hatches are open and they're walking. So like a space thing. And these are kind of large. They're 11 by 14, a little bit bigger than that. This is a United States Air Force plane. Same with this one. United States Air Force. This is another one of those concepts. The plane came up and they walked out in space. And that's still on that hard board. And then I didn't know about these. These didn't look good in the pictures, but they had this wax paper on them. The old brown paper, and it just peeled right off. It was a protection. I got the lunar, the NASA stuff. These are big. I don't even have sleeves to go over these. These are large things. Look at the camera they got on there. That's one of them. And then I got the guys on the moon. My grandkids really like these. They saw the stuff on the moon and stuff. But that's the lander. And these are on that heavy board as well. And then I got the astronaut putting the flag on the moon. So all of those I purchased from the auction. I paid $10. I won the auction for 10. The pictures weren't the greatest. They looked like they were, the Apollo ones, NASA ones looked like they were pretty torn up. It was just that paper. And a lot of people didn't know what the other ones were, but I just thought they were cool, and I got them for $10. We're gonna be setting up at the Gladiola Festival in a small town of Moments over here. I'm gonna sell them over there and see what at that fair and see what I can get out of them. I sell one for $10. I got my money back on those. I did get another pack of a whole bunch of little bitty photos and some Army postcards, but nothing magnificent. Only about a dozen postcards. I sell 5 of those. I got my money back on everything. So always look at your local auctions. You can cherry pick some of the better things. I'm not for sure what these are going to do, but we'll find out. Everybody I showed them to thought they were really neat, even the auctioneer people. But let me go ahead and get started on the cards that sold. I sold 16 cards so I'll go through them pretty quick. A couple of unique ones, some things some people might not know about, but mostly just regular average cards. But I did sell a higher price one. I wouldn't say real high, but higher than normal for me. This card here I sold is what they call cyanotype, CYAN type, O type. It's that blue color. You can look that up on there. But that sold for $6.88. Next guy bought 2 cards for $15.34. And this is the Catskill Mountains. It's from that one series of videos I did. I'll put one here on there. This is the Catskill Mountains. So those Catskill Mountains have done pretty good. So if you see those, don't be afraid to price them up. And that's what I did with that one. So both of these cards sold for $14.64. And that one, the first one sold for $8.55. The other one sold for $6.79. And this is another Catskill Mountain to the same guy. I mean, this is a white border. And those have all done pretty well. This is San Jacinto, California. Aerial view. $4.65. Chrome card. It went right through. This card here sold for $15.65. Now the condition of this card is not the greatest. The corners are real soft on some of the corners. The stamp is still there, they didn't soak it off, but it's got a crease on the corners and it's got the heavy cancel on it, and it just kind of faded. But when I did the comps for this, it's McHarry Medical College, Nashville, Tennessee. I didn't find a lot on them, but it was higher than normal, and the comps were between $15 and $20 some dollars. And I said, you know what, this is not the best condition with the creases and stuff like that. Let me go to the lower end, and I put it up for like $16, and I probably sent an offer. And I was showing it to one of my friends, and he says, what was the name of that? I said, McHarry. He said that was where the African American people back in the early 1900s, that was one of the only medical colleges they allowed black people to come and learn, was the McHarry. And he said, if I would have known you had that card, I would have bought it. So it is a piece of Black Americana history. And I think I got what I needed, because the ones I saw were $15 to $20, and this is kind of on condition-wise lower end. So I don't think I missed. But that's how you can miss some cards. I had no idea. It just, when I put that medical college in there and comped it, it came up more. So this sold for $15.65. So not a bad deal on that one. And that'll go eBay standard envelope because it's under $20. Next one, you see a lot of these where there's cotton or stuff on a dock or a port. I always thought they'd do better. This is just a $5 card, white border. It's cotton on the levee, New Orleans, white border card, $45. This is the library, University of South Carolina, Columbia. Probably bought it because there's a little Volkswagen Bug sitting right there, old cars. $45 chrome card. Next is a print. This is a colored print of the Samuel Gompers. That's the name right there, Samuel Gompers. 80-37, a ship, colored print, $45. This is the Drake and the Palmolive building. I don't know if I worked in that building. I worked in almost every building down in downtown Chicago. I don't remember, it's called the Palmolive building in there. But that's just a chrome card of the Drake in downtown Chicago. And we're going to be talking about Chicago. So that was $45. These next cards, both of these sold together for $9.30. This is Los Angeles State County Arboretum, Arcadia, California. This way. Vertical card. I think, yeah, vertical card of some bushes and some water. And then this is the same one, Arcadia. This is Aquatic Gardens. Got some lily pads. So this guy or lady liked this garden here. He bought 2 of them for $9.30. Next one is these. I only got a few of these left. This is the Tomcat aircraft passes overhead with the attack squadron intruder. Whenever you see those little things on there, I think that's the intruders. They're just cool planes, and that's a Tomcat flying overhead. I sold a lot of these. I probably only got 5 or 6 left of these. The aircraft, Navy aircraft, sells just as well as the boats. And then this one is one of the Hawaiian filler cards that I've been putting in. I put up maybe 1,100 Hawaiian cards. Started them all at $5.65, and this is a Hawaiian beauty, $5.65. And she was a Polynesian beauty and in Hawaii. Just a chrome card, $5.65. Sold this airplane. This is the, not for sure, new Martin BM Navy airplane, $45. These linen airplane cards don't do as well. I don't sell that many of them. I got a lot of them over there. They just don't sell as well, so they're $4 to $5 and they still don't move. And then the last card is a hotel coffee shop, Alber Merida in Charlottesville, Virginia, inside of a restaurant. And it says, "Hi, Bet and Joe." And that sold $4 to $5. So altogether, I sold 16 postcards. Total was $99.80. And if you take $99.80 and divide it by 16, gives me an average sale price of $624. So my average sale price for the year is still going up. I met my 14 cards by 2 today. So I did 16, so that's fine, and I did over $70. So today was a good day. I met all my 3 goals for the year. Over $70 a day, 14 or more cards a day, basically 14, and my average sale price going up, and it went fine. Then I had some sales in the Ko-Fi store with the sleeves. I think I sold a Continental sleeve packet, a divider, and some other things in here, some cards from a person. And take the I don't do the shipping on here. That's all. Ko-Fi is a little different with shipping. They don't have all the rules you can do on eBay, so I do a flat shipping, and then if it's excessive, I refund. I don't make any money on shipping, basically. If it's excessive on Ko-Fi, I send it back. It's just part of it. But with Ko-Fi, it comes to $110.25 total. And going out the back door, I have 1,000 postcard lot going out as well. I don't add that into my average sale price and stuff like that. It would really screw things up. Just sold another lot out. I call it the back door, is what those are. Those things going out, and usually get $100, $150 for those going out the back door. So there are some other things that I really don't show sometimes, but I thought I would show that the Ko-Fi net. So with YouTube, Ko-Fi, some other affiliate stuff, that equals about 7 to 9, 10% of my sales a year. That's it. Ko-Fi doesn't even equal that. If I break even on Ko-Fi, I'm fine with that. YouTube and stuff like that just pays for itself. So it's not the biggest part of my business. 95% of my business is the single cards that I sell on eBay. That's basically where it is. The flea market, that's added into that other 9 to 10%. If you're thinking about doing some other things, it takes a while. It takes a lot of work and for a little bit amount of money, but it's an added. I like to see a Ko-Fi sale here and there, and I like to do some things at the flea market, sell some lots here and there. It just adds to the monthly total to take the edge off some of those hills and valleys. So you always want to have your toes dipped in a few different things just to bring a few extra dollars in. But that's what's sold. Got any questions, let me know. Now we're going to get into Chicago postcards, the special topic of today. Chicago is dear to my heart. I grew up where I live. I basically grew up here. Lived here for 60 years. My family's here. I know the ins and outs. We're 15 minutes away from the east. Go east to Indiana. My son lives over there. My daughter's 5 minutes away. My brothers are all 10, 20 minutes away. So the family's here, and my in-laws are only 15 minutes away. So we stayed local. We didn't move out of the area. And we actually, our first house we got was in Moments. When we first got married, we paid, I think, $6,000 for it. It was a 912 square foot house my father-in-law got, and he put his work car or whatever up against it. We couldn't live upstairs for the first year or two. We didn't have the money to fix it up, but it was a very small house, a very nice house. And then the job started going, and we bought a house only 3 miles away from the one we have now, different neighborhood, and we lived there for 23 years. It was about a 1,500 square foot ranch house. That's where the kids grew up. We had a park and a bus stop, good neighborhood, friends. And then the kids moved out. We were looking for another house, and we ended up with this house. And this is our forever home. This is probably the last move that we do. So I've been around the area all of my life, and there it's only 55 miles straight south of Chicago. I can get to the city in about an hour. And I used to work downtown, and in the Loop, they call it. That's the business section of Chicago. And I used to drive down, park, and I walked around, fixed. I had like 200 and some accounts in the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower now, and stuff like that. And if we didn't have any tickets, we'd go sit by the lake, or in the winter we'd find a Starbucks, or the Mercantile Exchange had a little desk for me as well. So I did a lot of work down there. It's a nice place to visit, Navy Pier and stuff like that. Certainly, just like every city, there are certain parts you really don't want to go to, the south or the west side a lot. But you stay in the tourist stuff, the bubble, you'll be fine. I've never had a problem in Chicago with anybody. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about some history of Chicago. And remember, there was a great fire in Chicago. They said Miss Elsie's cow kicked over a lantern. There's a big story about how they rebuilt after the Great Fire, and where they put all that stuff along the shoreline on there in Grant Park. But I'm not going to get too much into Chicago fire with the history. But there's a few key facts and stuff that I'll get into. So let's go. And while I do it, I'm going to show you some postcards I found that are for sale for Chicago. Chicago, Illinois, or Chicago. Everybody says I have a Chicago accent. We don't hear it. Just like out east, they have a different accent. So Chicago, Illinois is the biggest city in Illinois, and that's where most of our tax dollars go to. Boasts a rich, captivating history that has shaped its identity as a vibrant metropolis. The city's origin can be traced back to the early 19th century when it was a small trading post on the southwestern shore of Lake Michigan. As the United States expanded westward, Chicago quickly grew into a major transportation hub thanks to its strategic location. The construction of the Illinois-Michigan Canal in the 1840s further solidified its significance as a center for trade and commerce, attracting settlers and businesses from all corners of the country. By the late 19th century, Chicago had become one of the largest cities in the nation and a key player in the Industrial Revolution. It embraced innovation and witnessed rapid urbanization, with towering skyscrapers and the birth of modern architecture. However, the city also faced significant challenges, including the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, which ravaged much of the city but ultimately led to an impressive transformation and architectural renaissance. Today, Chicago stands as a cultural powerhouse, renowned for its iconic skyline, diverse neighborhoods, world-class museums, and vibrant art scenes, all of which bear testament to an enduring legacy as a city of resilience and ingenuity. Over the years, Chicago has been at the forefront of many pivotal movements in American history. It played a crucial role during the Prohibition era in the 1920s as the notorious gangsters like Al Capone and his criminal empire took control of the city's illicit alcohol trade. Yeah, we're known about Valentine's Massacre, St. Valentine's Massacre, and the gangsters. And there's a tour you can actually take down to Chicago with the gangsters. The city also served as a vocal point for the civil rights movement in the mid-20th centuries. In 1966, Chicago hosted the landmark Freedom Movement rally led by Martin Luther King Jr., advocating for racial equality and justice. The event marked a turning point in the struggle for civil rights and brought national attention to the city. Chicago's vibrant political scene also made it a center of influence in American politics. The city has produced influential figures, including several U.S. presidents, such as Barack Obama, who launched his political career in Chicago. Furthermore, Chicago has a rich cultural heritage, with a thriving jazz and blues scene that nurtured talents like Louis Armstrong and Muddy Waters, solidifying its status as the birthplace of modern blues music. With a storied past and dynamic present, Chicago continues to leave an indelible mark on nation's history and cultural landscape. In Chicago, the gangster part of Chicago, there's actually a bar where the auction I just showed you is in that town. There's Edwin's right on Route 50 here. Has a picture of Al Capone on the sign because that was one of his getaways. And they say there's a tunnel underneath there going to the house out back so he could get away. Not for sure about that. But there's some other places in the S-curves where they would drive around in moonshine. Stories there, but a lot of the gangster stuff you would hear about that in Chicago, and it's part of our history. And with that, but Chicago's a neat place to find things. Now I got 5 facts about Chicago that I found, and what I'll do, I'm going to show some pictures and videos of places around Chicago. Some are current and some are past. Remember, the Sears Tower is now called the Willis Tower. I worked in it. I had like 20-30 accounts in the Sears Tower. Some days I'd have 3 or 4 calls just in the Sears Tower, and there's different elevators go up. One time I was working on the Sears Tower on the 84th floor. We were in a room about the size of my office, and me and the phone guy, we were putting cables in and putting a new system in, and I didn't feel good. So I had to go downstairs for a little bit, all the way to the bottom again just for a little bit. The engineer, one of them told me the building will move a total of 3 feet, 1.5 feet each way with the wind. And I'm very motion sensitive, you want to call it. And I felt that, and the other guy finally felt it too. So we kind of took a break for a little while and went downstairs and went up and finished up. But it was all the way on the 84th floor. I mean, we were way up there. You had to take like 3 different banks of elevators to get there and stuff. And I put a lot of systems in that building. And in the basement's a whole bunch of shops and stuff like that. So you could just live in that building. There's 5 facts. The first one is Chicago is the 3rd most populous city in the United States with an estimated population of over 2.7 million people as of 2021. It is the most populous city in the state of Illinois and the Midwest region of the country. This was an important factor people don't know about, a fact. Known as the Windy City. Everybody says Chicago's the Windy City. Chicago gets its nickname not from its weather. Even though we have what they call a hawk in between the buildings down there in the winter, it gets pretty cold and it runs through, and it is windy, but the Windy City name does not come from its weather, but rather from its long history of political bluster and hot air. We're known for our politicians. The term was first popularized by 19th century journalists to describe the city's reputation for boasting and self-promotion. We're good at that down here. So Windy City is because of the politicians. Hot air. The 3rd fact is Chicago is renowned for its impressive architecture. The city is home to several iconic structures, including the Willis Tower, formerly known as the Sears Tower, which held the title of the world's tallest building for 25 years. Other architectural landmarks include the John Hancock Center, the Chevron Tower, and the Wrigley Building. And I've worked in all those buildings. Chicago is a major cultural hub known for its vibrant art scene. The city boasts numerous world-class museums. There's a Field Museum, Museum of Natural History, the Shedd Aquarium, which I go to a lot. I like fish, as you know. So I love going to the Shedd Aquarium. Such as the Art Institute, which houses one of the most extensive collections. Right off the Grant Park there's the Art Institute with the lions. They usually put the sports teams on. That's the Art Institute. Collection of Impressionist and Post-Impressionist art in the world. Additionally, Chicago is renowned for its theater district, with the famous Steppenwolf Theater Company and the Goodman Theater among its notable venues. We went to a couple theaters downtown, some shows and stuff like that, and they're really good. It gets you away from doing things, and we don't have a train that goes all the way down here. A lot of times we'll drive there, or we can go 25 minutes up north and we can hit the main line that goes into the city, and it stops right there at Millennial Park and Grant Park there, and we can just hop on and off there. Navy Pier is one of the most visited attractions in the Midwest, attracting over 9 million visitors annually. There's a whole story about Navy Pier. It almost didn't make it. It was a training place during World War II and stuff like that, but locals, we usually stay away from places like that, but we've been there. We'll go down and walk around the city maybe once a year along the lakefront and go do things and stuff like that. Or even during when it gets a little chillier, we'll take the train up and just walk around the museums and that. But Navy Pier, we've been there, done it. But if you're in Chicago, you'll want to go to Navy Pier. That's the tourist attraction. But that's Chicago. If you got any questions about Chicago, or if you're coming to Chicago, where to stay and stuff like that, it's safe. And there's certain parts they'll tell you. And don't believe all the news you hear. It happens in all big cities. Sell-through rate for Chicago postcards. There's 700 sold. 100,000 listed. There's 100,000 Chicago postcards listed. Times it by 100 gives you a 6%. So a lot of the major cities are 5 to 6%. And if you look at my little gauge here, that falls right in the middle of the average. Because that range gives you that little play with the sell-through rate the way it's calculated. So it's an average card. There is a few things that, few cards I'll show you here in a second that might do a little bit better. But let me bump it against some other major cities. Seattle, 27,000 listed, 6%, same. Then you got Indianapolis, large city in Indiana, 5% with 19,000 listed, and 92,000 postcards listed for San Francisco, California, 5%. So all the major cities so far that I'm looking at here, bouncing against, it's an average card. Now the real photos and stuff like that will probably do better, but your average Chicago cards are going to be your average sellers. So if you see a box and it has 3/4 of it Chicago, you pay the average price. That's basically how I use sell-through rate, average or below price, because they are going to sit and they are going to take a little while longer to sell, just like any normal average card. But I did find some extreme high priced ones. Here's one, Park Ridge, Chicago, Illinois. Park Ridge is just south, or it's a suburb type of city or whatever. Perkins Storage and Moving Horse-Drawn Buggy or Wagon. Yeah, they know what it is and stuff. It looks like a real photo to me. Yep, it says RPPC. It's written, it's RPPC. If it's spoken, it's real photo. I'm getting good at that. $140. Buy it now. They got full price for it. The seller's a top rated plus seller, and they only charge $1.50 for shipping. Can't use ESE on that, and I would be sending that, take care of that customer. But that's one card. Another example of real photo postcards can do good money if you do your homework. Next one is 1909 First Unitarian Society Chapel, Woodlawn Avenue, Chicago. RPPC, real photo postcard. Took it off around $60, probably got $55.50 for it, $4.95 shipping. Another real photo. And then Don the Beachcomber Unique Driftwood. This postcard I pulled is a novelty, another novelty postcard. Wooden postcard is a novelty postcard. It falls in that area. Postcard Rum, Chicago, Illinois, $57. That's probably the highest wooden postcard I've ever seen sold, except for Birchwood. So $57. So those are your extremes, $140, $50. All of these are unique ones. They sell themselves, have uniqueness. Might be some of them are very, very hard to find and stuff like that. So do your homework when you get those. And you could find those in that box. Could be in there. If it says Chicago, might be some gems in there. But you go back to the regular cards that we see all the time in lots or online or pick up. These are the sold highs on eBay. 1914 Lexington Hotel, Chicago, $29, $30. Took an offer probably $25. That's not too bad for that card. Hotels usually don't go that much. I don't know where Lexington is. I can't tell you if it's still there or not. It might be called something else. Then you got a baseball game, West Side Ball Grounds, Chicago, Illinois. Looks like a divided back to me, just the way it looks. I don't have it in my hand, but he got $25 for it. He could have probably got a little bit more. I have a video about stadiums, and something like this. This looks really neat, unless there's a lot of them or something. But that's not a bad price. But I would have maybe shopped for a little bit more on that unique card. And then you got a Hold to the Light. Hold to the Light postcard. This isn't one. I'll just example. It's got two pieces of plies, two pieces of paper, and the front is die cut. And then there's a piece of paper, like tissue paper, in between them. And when you shine a light through it, it'll show like the street lights or lights in the windows or the stars lit up and stuff like that. It's Hold to the Light. If you hold it up to the light, you'll see the light coming through the card, is what those are. And that's a Hold to the Light postcard, Union Stockyards. I've never seen a Hold to the Light Union Stockyards. But $25, $20 for that card. Hold to the Lights are sometimes hard to find when you pick, because get them, you got to feel the thickness and also feel the little die cuts on the front. So you could miss them. no telling how many I've missed going through cards, but you'll see them in churches and stuff and all that stuff. And I've sold some for good prices. So I would say the highs, $20, $25 on your average high cards, not your real photos. Then your lower ones, you got your 99 cents, your $1.89. I've sold that Panda one before. I've sold that Union Station. I don't put those in my equation. I can't sell cards at that and make money. So I don't even put them in there. And any average cards that real high, I throw those out too. And I look for the average and I look for outliers and stuff like that. Hold to the light one, that's considered kind of a novelty, but it's hold to the light. That's going to sell itself. So highs, 20, 25. Lows, I'd start $4 or $5 and move up from there. Depends on what the year and what they're like. But overall, I don't pass up the major cities. I try to get the older divided backs if I can, but I also like to get the earlier chromes, and some of the linens are pretty neat too. And there's a lot of white borders with cities. Looks like the photographers hit the big cities on those. But some of the people today know what it looked like 20 years ago, not what it looked like 80 years ago. They don't sell for the top dollar, but they do move. The game is to move cards. You know, kill them with quantity. That's Chicago. Who knew? Now the poll, this will be a quick poll because it was just for me to basically ground set me on who I'm talking to here also, and where people are at and that are watching the channel. Because I can just poll the people who are out there watching the channel on what they do. And I got one here that I was considering it, but I didn't do it yet. I put this out a couple times a year, 2 or 3 times. How many hours a week do you work on selling postcards? Some people have full-time jobs. Some people have a lot of kids, some medical, and some people do other things, sell other things, and postcards just a filler. And you'll see in the comments here. So the first one was 1 to 9 hours. The top one was 36%. So they're working a full day on just postcards. Mostly weekends or at night, a couple hours a night. So that tells me right there, part-time sellers probably. Then the 10 to 19 hours is 21% was the next one. Kind of fell right in line too much. Then the 30 to 40 hours with and the 20 to 29 were about the same, 15, 16%, and 11% was separate. So I would say half work 20 hours or less, and the other half work 20 hours or more. Me, I'm about 20 hours, I would say. I don't put the YouTube part. YouTube is the other 20 hours that I play with. But I'll list my cart. I'll get up, I'll come down with a cup of coffee and pack up anything that's sold, walk up to the mailbox, put the flag up, and then I'll come in and I'll list 50 cards while I'm drinking coffee. And then I piddle around with my numbers and some other things on postcards until about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So I would say about 20 hours. YouTube, it depends if I'm batching videos, like recording this video. I'll record this video, download it, and it'll sit there to be edited whenever I get the chance to do it. I'd say 20 hours. I would say I'm in between full-time and part-time. But it's whatever you can do. But I thought it would be a little higher up in the 20 to 29 hours than it was at the 1 to 9. But then we're talking summer right now. And you're going to see in the comments what people have done with that. So the first comment I got from Happy Bunny. Happy Bunny, not a sad bunny, Happy Bunny. At first I put other because I haven't yet opened my eBay shop. But then I realized I bought my first box of postcards this week and spent a few hours going through them yesterday to start to work out which ones will be first listings. So I changed it to 1 to 9 hours. Yeah, when you sort and time going through them, that's all part of it. Wow, I feel like I'm actually on my way to being a real live postcard seller after your poll. Happy Bunny, you're on your way. You broke the ice. Get that store open. Get that basic store or whatever, the smallest store. Go ahead and get all those little things out of the way. Figure out how you're going to mail them, pack them, and stuff like that. Put up your first 10 cards. Do your first 1,000 cards, and you'll be on your way. You'll find out if you'd like to do it or something you want to continue. Is the big thing. Don't spend a lot in there until you get your first 1,000 up, because a lot of people, as I said in the other video, they quit or fail. Quitting is they just didn't like it, the rinse and repeat, and the sales done sitting on the stuff for so long, or it just wasn't what they wanted to do. The novelty wore off, the honeymoon's over. Then the ones that fail is just not grasping the business part of it to me. They're pricing too high, too low, they're not getting cash flow, or they have some other life problem. Go ahead and get that store open, get everything set in place, and put this box of postcards up. Set a goal, maybe 5 a day, 10 a day, whatever you can do, and pretty soon it's just going to accumulate. Everybody says, "Why? How did you get over 45,000 postcards up?" I list 40 to 50 a day, and they don't sell. They just sit there. That's why. But quantity and the niche I got, I knew I had to have a big variety and big quantity to sell some. And they do sit. It goes against a lot of other what resellers do. They want to move their merchandise in the first 30, 90 days. Collectibles are a different category, like postcards. They'll sit there until someone finds it and stuff like that. I had a guy the other day come in. You ever had those postcards that says National Postcard Week? You get those in the lots or you see them, and you say, well, will this sell? And you put it up and it just sits. A guy come in the other day and said, I'll buy all 22 of your National Postcard Week postcards for $15 plus reasonable shipping. He's lucky I saw the message, but he had a good header in there, so it popped out. And I went in and I queried my store and I said, 22 National, I got 22 of those in here? So I said National Postcard Week, and it came up 22. And one was a duplicate. He wanted all of them. I said, yeah, I'll put a little special listing for you, and you can see there. It took me about 10 minutes to save the photos and make a listing. He paid $15 plus shipping for 22 National Postcard Week. He's a collector. Never try to think what people are going to buy. Because if you do, and you only put up those cards, you're putting up your own collection. I sold one of a Gartner snake the other day. Just when you think you got it figured out what people are going to buy, they buy a snake and they buy 22 National Postcard Week postcards. But that's his niche. He liked those. He was happy to buy to get those. I have no problem selling those cards for that amount of money. And they're in all different boxes. Didn't take me long to put together. But you never know. You never know. But yeah, Happy Bunny, thanks for your comments, and stay with us here. Tell us how you're doing. Got any questions? Shoot me an email or comments, and we'll get back and we'll get you going. Next one is Applebee's Attic Treasure. I think I said it right. I put 10 to 19 hours, which is about right for summertime. See, this is what I'm talking about summer. So right now, I'm doing 10 to 20 hours. Right for summertime, because there's other activities you're doing. Once it gets too cold to be outside, it's more like 30 to 40 hours. So full-time. Part-time summer, it's great. Hours a week for me since I retired last year. So they're retired. So during the summer, they cut it in half. During the winter, they do more. So nothing much to do. You're inside. A lot of people say, how is it to be retired? Well, you think you have more time than you really do. Everybody says, I'm going to do this, stay up late, and just do whatever I want. Well, it feels like sometimes when I worked, I had more time than I do now with stuff. But thanks, Apple, for that. Then trying to learn this. It says I work full time, so typically can only dedicate a few hours a week. But in that time, I'm able to list 100, 150 cards per day. Yeah, he just crunches out a couple times a week and gets it over with and gets it done. But working a full-time job and trying to be a full-time reseller, that's a struggle, especially if you got a family and kids. My son has a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old right now. They both work, and a lot of times during the week I don't even hear from them because they're so busy with the kids and stuff. That's their first priority. So it can be taxing and stuff like that. So thanks, trying. Then Boldly Grow Pickers. I try to list every day, but I work full-time. Another full-timer. So I make the most of my weekends. Online sourcing in the evenings. A lot of people sit down with their laptops while they're watching TV after dinner, and they source and find things and learn for a couple hours. And I do that a lot too at night. I'll take my MacBook and just search around and see things. When he needs a break from listing, but he ships every morning or night. So he's shipping every day and getting the cards out. So he's got a full-time job. This is a side gig. Some people do this stuff full-time. Their life depends on selling and reselling. Whole different pressure than what I'm retired and do as a side gig and Boldy and Apple. We do this as a side gig because we want the extra money to do the things we want to do. And this helps with that. Then postcard collector. Now get the name, postcard collector. I don't sell, but I'm looking or organizing for 2 to 5 hours a week. So this is not a seller. This is a collector that watches the channel, and he said he still spends 2 to 5 hours a week on his collection. So you know these people with collections get in there and they just like doing it. Even the action figure people love to go down and look at their figures and mess around with them, looking for the next one to add to their thing. So that's what he's doing. But thanks, postcard collector. So it's whatever you can do. There's no, I'm not trying to be the best, longest time one or whatever and meet some ungodly goal to be the highest number out there or have the most videos done or have the most listed. It just happens. When you list 50 a day and they don't sell as fast as you're listing, it just keeps going. And plus I have a lot of postcards I want to list. And that's why I sold a lot here today, because I had some extra and the person wanted some postcards, so I put one together for him. And, you know, random picks on there. It goes out the back door. Just extra cash. That's the poll. Make sure you subscribe. Every Saturday one goes out. And if you got any polls you want me to put up, send it to me in an email. I put one up a couple weeks ago for a gentleman that sent me a message. It was a pretty good poll, but I'll check it out and see if I can do it. Always looking for ideas. I just don't want to be the only one here talking. Now I just got a few viewer comments here. Yeah, 3 of them viewer comments come from YouTube, emails, wherever. If you put them on YouTube, they're pretty well public, and your name could be on there. If you want more private, just send me an email to contact@SMPostcards.com. If I haven't got back to you, hit me again. I've been pretty good. I don't think I missed anybody, but I always tell people, it's not a bother for you to send me an email. And I usually reply pretty quickly, unless I'm doing something. But if I don't, send me a message again. Calamity Photo Neil. This was about the poll, I think, is how do you mail your postcards? Do you put it in the mailbox or anything like that? Well, his dad was a mail carrier. Back in kindergarten, if I was mad at him for some reason, I'd put snowballs in the post office blue box that I'd pass on my walk to school. I thought I was really getting him back for yelling at me. I wonder how much mail I ruined that year. I mean, we look back as kids, what were we thinking on some of the things we did? I wrote back to Neil and I said, yeah, and just think of all the letters to Santa that didn't make it because he was putting snowballs in there. Everybody has stories like that. But thanks for sharing, Neil. Next one, I don't hear this term often because they're kind of elusive postcards. They're called copper window postcards. I have a video on them. And you'll catch them in lots. I found one a couple months ago in a lot because the light hit it. And I kind of know when I see them. But what it is they made a special powder that adhered to the cards. And they had to stop because the powder was explosive. It wasn't good for you. And it gives a sense that the windows have copper and they shine in the light. And they use some other things in the waters and stuff like that. But you'll see windows in buildings, and if they shine like copper, check that video out, you might have a copper postcard. Does it give you extra money? I haven't found that it give you that much more, but you can go out and comp them. They're for that people that know what they are. They're the conversation starter. I have a few in my little novelty collection that I have, that I keep, because I think they're really cool. And there is a history about them, and I cover that in that copper window thing. But Ashley said, copper window cards. Never heard of them until watching your video. Yeah, I got over 200 videos out there of all different types of postcards, so you want to look out there, and there's some unique ones that you don't come across too often. Might not be the most expensive world, but they're just neat to look at. And thank you. She's keeping an eye out. Yeah, you become more aware of postcards as you start collecting and selling something like postcards. You'll become more aware, and you'll start seeing them all over the place. And you'll be amazed that sometimes you can walk in and you'll be able to buy this whole stack of postcards for $5. Then the next time you go to a next booth or something like that and they want $100. Some people just want to get rid of them. They don't want to deal with them and stuff like that. But you'll start seeing them and you never looked for them before. And you become more aware. And the more you learn, the better you get and the better cards you pick up. And you will get some duds. We all do. But thanks, Ashley. And let me know if you ever get one. Send me if anybody's got any postcards that they found, and they want me to show on a video, just send it to contact@SMPostcards.com. I'll take a look at it, and just tell me, hey, use this on a video, because I love to see other people's collections. Or if you got a picture of how your setup is, you want me to share. I'm looking for that going into 2024. I want to do a viewer corner, like, is what I want to put together, of pictures from other viewers, because we get stuck in these offices, and if you got a neat setup or box thing you want to show, something unique, or just the way you do it, send me a picture. And if you got any really, really cool postcards, if you have a real big sale, say you sell a postcard for $2,500, and you want to gloat about it and rub it in our faces, send it in, and I'll put it out there. I want to create like a viewer corner, and when I get a bunch, I'll do a part of the video, and it will have your name on it if you want me to. But I want to share not just what I do every day, but I can do a whole what's sold on what the viewers have sent me, what you guys are selling out there. You know, you've done a good job with that stuff, or if you got a good feedback or something, just send it in, and I'll see what I can put together for 2024. But I want to do like a viewer corner where I share what you guys send me. So send it to contact@SMPostcards.com. I had 3 postcards removed from eBay. How dare they? Per policy, they said. Have you ever had this happen, and what did you do? I got a video on that too. I put it out there a long time ago. It doesn't cover everything, but it got people thinking. 5 postcards you should not list on eBay. They're the German war symbol, Black Americana, the war flag, just whatever's in that video. I was taken down. Yes, I've had a card taken down. It was during a year or so ago when they went through and they took a lot of the Black Americana down, the Mississippi flag, and I had a Cuba one, but it's the policy. And what did I do? I didn't relist it. It went in the flea market bucket, or I sent it to a person that wanted them. I stay so far away from the edge on eBay. If they even come close to a policy, I am so far, I'll never fall off that cliff. I am not going to upset my store or my account for 1 or 2 cards. I'm not a martyr. I pick my battles, and eBay runs the site. If they see one thing and you hear one thing, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste my time fighting with them, because you're going to get 10 different people on the phone and 10 different answers. So I just stay away from it. So if you got 3 of them postcards taken down, put them somewhere where you never list them again. If you put it back up there, they could suspend you, and if you keep doing it, they can ban you from selling. I mean, it takes a while to do that, but they'll slap you on the wrist a few times. But you don't even want to go there. I'll leave it up to the individual, but I'm not going to fight the battle because one thing said this and one thing said that. I'm not a martyr. I'm not going to go out there and do that. So if they tell me they took it down, fine. I'm not dealing with it. Some people will take the gloves off and go to town with them. But in the end, what do you really get out of it? You just lost a lot of time. So I always tell people, pick your battles. If 1 card out of here gets taken down, I don't think it's going to break the bank. But if 1 card out of here you keep putting up and fighting causes your account, you might as well just take all these other ones away too. The battle I'd fight if it was more extreme, like they took your whole store down or something. But just 1 card, no, on there. And a lot of people say, well, don't put it in the title. Sometimes they'll take your card down, and you'll see a lot of other cards out there. It doesn't matter. Someone probably reported your card. Other sellers sometimes will report other sellers' stuff to get competition. There's 7 to 9 million postcards. People think too small. Other people will report cards, and the other people didn't get reported yet, or their bots haven't found it. eBay can also look at the pictures. So if you put a German symbol on there and they take it down, it's because their bots saw the picture on there. So it's not just in the titles and stuff. They know what's in the picture. They take tons of information from your listings and what's in the pictures and stuff. They know on there. So I just pick your battles. That's what I tell people. Don't check that video out. There's 5 of them here. Some people said they've listed like Cuba. It was no problem. I don't even go there. If it says Cuba, I don't list it. I draw the line and stay away from that line. That's just what I've always done. So I never have to worry about getting one of those. And some people say, well, you should be able to do that. Nope. That's not me. I'm not going to walk the edge anymore. I used to when I was younger, but I don't walk the edge. I stay away from the edge. That's all I got for today. Check out those Chicago postcards, especially if you come to town. Check out Navy Pier, the ledge over in the Willis Sears Tower where you can walk out and look down. A lot of neat stuff to do. You can take a water taxi on the Chicago River. And pizza's great. Here's some fish. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.